if it's an AEW crowd, they're going to know more about who other people are than just your average wrestling crowd. And so Ciampa got in the ring and they circled each other and they faced off, and he made motions that he's coming for the TNT title, and then he kissed Mark Briscoe on the cheek and left the ring. And it's not as erotic as it sounds. It's like the Tommaso Ciampa, the kiss of death. I mean, this goes back to stuff he wanted to do and did do in Ring of Honor 15 years ago. Because Tommaso, I've said this every time that we've talked about it for the past 5 years or whatever in WWE programs. I love his word. I think he's a realistic personality. You can believe his shit. He's a beast of an athlete. He trains like a demon. His work is something that gets over and he can be serious and and they were never gonna, with his age, with his injury background, with just the competition over there in general, and they were never gonna let him be a tough guy when he could be. As is illustrated by the fact that he and Gargano were partners, and they used Gargano better than him after they split. Yes, he's perfect for AEW. Because he's only going to have to once or twice a week, if that. He's still going to stay in great shape because he's motivated to do that. And all of the stuff I've seen him to do has been fairly fucking serious. He said, again, you know, when he was in that thing with Gargano and his wife and there was all this. But just as hyper killer Ciampa, I'm interested in seeing what he might do. However, the realism sets in. He's still in the land of silly looking at children. But because he's different, he'll stand out here, and at least we won't have to watch somebody else that just sucks at everybody. I think he'll get a lot better chance to show what he can do, have some fun, and then make some money. Tony got a little victory here, so he's probably paying him well. You know, so he'll be more here, and he'll get a chance to do more of his shit here than he would have over there. And it doesn't affect anybody's business either way. It's not going to negatively affect the WWE, and as we've seen before, no matter who comes in to AEW, even people much higher in the pecking order than Tommaso, it's not going to be any kind of a change in a positive direction. Except for having match quality, maybe, whatever, a true professional, but it's not going to be any difference in business. Yeah, I'm looking forward to that. If at least they'd start out with a regular fucking match and work their way up from there instead of doing everything in the first 15 minutes, but yes, I would like to see that.
And another thing because of the difference in using him out bigger than him. He looks bigger because of the skin. So he's just mentioned that he looked better on me than he has in WWE debut, even if he was in great shape.
Yeah, he's in great shape, and he looks like he fucking beat your ass, but he's really looked small in the WWE environment because of the size of everybody else. And this way, he gets to pick on some people and be a big bully.
Get that MJF, get that Adam Page, and honestly, you know, like most people do. At least it's something fresh. So, and had told somebody something.
Well, man, we come to the 9 o'clock hour Friday. It's time for the MJF in-ring promo, and did you detect the difference between the roar? Not only when Tommaso came out, but when Kenny came out. And they knew he was there. Tommaso was in the crowd, but they got big. And MJF came down. That's what they used to. Yes. I was thinking they know what they're about to see. MJF is going to come out, do a wonderful Philippine period like that. It's just saying somebody's probably going to end up damn. But did you detect as a peep? I mean, was it just Austin? Was it just because they were right after Ciampa's big entrance, or was it like, I mean, they were out when he said it, but I'm afraid that they have just taken all the fucking bloom off his rose.
Well, also, it's not like they don't anything with the top star. So it's not to take anything away from Brody. That's just not who he is right now, the way he's been presented.
But they used to roar just when he came out. Whether they were chanting for him or against him, there was a lot more engagement. Whether he's on a scumbag or what him. Anyway, immediately he started to talk to town. He started speaking for about 10 seconds. And here came Brody King. And he got ragged. MJF has to back off. And you know, like, are we going to be professional here? You know, are you going to stand there and just smirk at me while I fucking tear you down verbally for the next 5 minutes? Because that's what happens. He cuts us scathing out. He just Brody King and Brody King stood in the corner laughing while he was MJF was he was suspended. And if I talk about how good MJF is, then I get all these people he won't say anything bad about his boy, but guys about how great MJF is and how he's being used and how bad this position is. They don't get that. MJF is one of a kind of talent, and also is good enough at in-ring wrestling, athletically, to have the best match on the card, because mentally and psychologically, putting a match together, he's in the upper percentile also. But that means almost nothing unless there is an environment and a roster and a producer or group of producers that you could put him in the middle of to take advantage of all that. Elsewise, you get what you've got here is he's doing the same shit he's been doing for 5 or 6 years to diminishing returns against less interesting people.
What do you think Brody King looks like here? MJF was channeling the games. What do you think Brody King?
Well, I think he sounds more like Howard Brody than Bruiser Brody. He sounds like he got a little bass in his voice at the end, but I mean, for it to have to just stand there and smirk and then just say, well, I got with Tony Khan, and next week I'm going to face you in an eliminator match, and if I beat you, then I'll get a title shot in Australia. So we're going to see the match before we are asked to pay to see the rematch. And
this is a joke. Last week he said, it's beat them. Yeah. So this should beat you, so we get a chance to beat you.
Yeah, that's what Tony agreed with, too. That makes perfect sense. I'm going to beat you, and we'll get a chance to beat you. But then he's not, unless they're completely insane, he's not going to beat MJF on television. Because if they have a pay-per-view match, nobody's going to goddamn buy that he's going to win the belt from him anyway. MJF needs some wins. In the same way as Kenny needs wins. So that MJF will somehow cheat and lie and steal to prevail in this thing, and then get backed into a corner with someone, whether it be Brody King or anybody else, at the pay-per-view. The pay-per-view is Australia, right? That's what they're talking about, the Grand Slam in Australia.
I don't think it's a pay-per-view. I just think it's a pay-per-view.
Yeah, but well, in that case, even less reason to fucking have Brody King go over. So, what I still say,
Mention money.
what I said,
They mentioned money at this point. Everybody will come back to Australia. That's where they happened last year.
one way or another, it'll be the best Brody King match that we've seen because it'll be MJF calling it, and MJF will have an actual guy whose English is his first language that he can function. So, it'll be better than MJF and fucking Bandito.
Could have been a tag match. Bandito versus MJF. Giant tag match. We're going to see him go home. Just see him in a Bandito match.
Yeah, but put the Abraham Lincoln outfit on him. That seems that's complete.
That's fine.
You know, I think I've got the answer to how this segment could have come off a little bit better. How Brody King would have been just standing in the corner and just having to listen to being eviscerated and browbeaten by MJF, and just have to smirk at the whole thing. What if Brody King in the corner was listening to his Raycon earbuds? Then he'd have reason to smile, and he could be popping in the corner, listening to all his favorite tunes, or maybe checking up on the news. And he wouldn't have to just stand there and be emasculated by MJF's verbal wizardry. Maybe a little KC and the Sunshine Band in his ears. What do you think?
Perhaps that's what he was doing. That's why he wasn't beat there by MJF. He was sitting there listening to something from Saber Williams Records or something from his favorite label himself. Not worried about the man flooding him down Bruce style in front of him.
Well, maybe he didn't have the right kind of Raycon earbuds in his ears, Brian, because he didn't have the essential open earbuds, and that way he could have heard his music and he could have kept an ear on MJF, because with the essential open earbuds, they don't block everything, like the cars honking and the people screaming, "Get out of the way, the safe is falling!" So you need to hear things like that. So these, the safe.
Is that how does that nonsense realize in Ford's cartoon? I remember it's tapes falling on everyone's head.
It happened 6 times in the 1960s, I'll have you know. They called it the Great Safe Epidemic. You didn't remember that?
In the 60s? No, where did that go?
And they traced it to bad cable manufacturers in the safe lifting trade. But anyway, if you want to hear whether that safe is plummeting toward your head or not, you get the essential open earbuds, folks, and that way the open ear design lets you hear the music and the world around you both at the same time. The multi-angular hook goes around the ear, and for the people, the segment of the community that have the lobes on the other side of their ear, you can turn it right around. It just kind of, it's a flexible ear hook that adapts to any ear in any direction. And if you've got regular ears, but you put them up backwards, you can hear the Beatles' White Album backwards, so you know Gary Paul. And there's 36 hours of battery life. So you've got that going for you, folks. I'm telling you. Whether you want to listen to all of his dad, or just parents and go to the gym and not have to hear about the everyday life, you can just listen to what you want to listen to, while still being able to hear the train crossing the tracks you're sitting on. The essential earbuds are not here for you. Raycon, that's what we buy. R-A-Y. Raycon.com/JC. You're going to get 15% off everything on the whole daggum site there. Essential earbuds. Raycon.com/JC. 15% off.
Yeah, I'm going over here. I got one there. The kids are still over there. There was a big earbuds. Way different.
And the thing is, big in effect is getting That's why he used to bandage himself up so much he was holding his earbuds in after he lost his ear.
Once again, iRaycon.com so much choice.
We recommend that.
Looking for a secure way to grow your savings without your money with PFC's credit unions, pick your terms and share certificates. Grow your savings faster with flexible terms ranging from 3 months to 5 years. Choose the term that best fits your timeline. For full details and rates, visit PFCU4ME.com. That's PFCU4ME.com. Membership required. Insurance federally insured by NCUA.
Back to Dynamite, talking about blowing your ears off. Okay. Again, I'm cursed, apparently, also. FTR was going to have a match with Mark Davis and Jake Doyle. And even though, again, they're all heel teams here, so that the people weren't really going to be just on the edge of their seats on this, because they're all heels, so why do they care? Okay, Davis, I give him shit because he's got a big ass, but I think he's actually trying to lose some. And he can move, and he's got that great pile driver, and at least he's a full-grown man. And also, I think that they're a pretty good tag team. His ass is small, but he's still a big guy, and he does some good-looking shit.
They look like a team that they look
I see it. And I'm thinking, okay, they're going to have a good match with FTR. The question is FTR going to go too far and lose everybody? Or are they a really good tag match? But let's see what Davis and Boone got. And they start this thing out. And the chops were solid. The shoulder tackles were solid. Cash went down on both the heels of the floor, and they caught him hard on the Cash. That was the great spot. And Davis and Dax spent time wailing on each other. I mean, the chops. Dax's chest was bleeding, and it looked like somebody digged him in the eye. And so this was a smash mouth. Things Jay used to say, right? And okay, so these guys, as a tag team, now that Syndicate, I guess, is goddamn single. He's got something. They worked with, they hard-weight Doyle somehow when he had some minor blood from his head. And then Doyle was trying to superplex Dax, and Cash pulled Doyle down on the apron and gave him a DDT on the apron. And I'm trying to describe this, people could visualize it if they haven't seen it, but imagine that Doyle was standing on the apron of the ring with his right hand on the top rope, facing Cash, and Cash overhooked his head and dropped Doyle straight down to the apron with a DDT, and Doyle never let go of the top rope with his right hand. And when Cash came down, it jerked him at an angle that it hyperextended his arm and tore his bicep. And this is not just an amateur diagnosis, because he immediately afterwards said, "I've just torn my fucking bicep." And he rolled off on the floor, and that was the last we saw of him. And they continued the match, even though it kind of, they hit the next move they were going to do, and then it came to a halt. Because nobody knew what to do, because the guy's out on the floor. So Dax called some kind of audible. Cash took a bump to the floor, and Dax and Davis kept the match going so that they could send Moxley and his group down to ringside. And again, these finishes. And Davis ends up on the floor, and the referee gets distracted, and Moxley hits Davis over the head with the title belt and rolls him back in or whatever, and FTR hit the shatter machine on him, 1, 2, 3. So it took 6 guys to beat 1, and Moxley's group is supposed to be the baby faces, and they're the ones that was 6-on-1 against the fucking 1 heel. me.
Jake Doyle just showed up. He looked really good. Looked like a full-grown wrestler. He's out. He's right away. He's out.
And he's gone.
That's unfortunate. Stokely was a comedy figure in this whole situation.
Oh, did you see they forgot to go wheel Stokely? Stokely was trying as best he could in that wheelchair on those pads. You can't move that fucking thing. He had to have arms like Lesnar. And he's trying to get over the He sees him, goes over and starts wheeling. The fucking... If he doesn't have surgery on torn bicep, it's 3 or 4 months. If he does have surgery, it's probably 6 months or maybe.
And no one knew how to react. I mean, they got a reaction when Moxley showed up. But, you know, there were points in the match where the fans didn't know. They aren't like going to cheer for anyone for any reason. And they're not giving them any reason to cheer for anyone. So they're just sitting there watching the match. And then it fell apart.
And then...
And the counts kept building like every second.
You know, I'm saying the two Eagles, Doyle and Davis, attacked Moxley earlier in the night 2-on-1. So now Moxley, the babyface group, waits until one of the Eagles is injured. There's 2 more babyfaces on the other Eagle, and then he comes out and makes the 6-on-1 and fucks the fucking Eagle so that the other heel team, the babyfaces fuck the heel so the other heel team can win the match.
What is their problem? The Death Riders and the Talisman. What is the problem?
I don't really know. Not sure.
It's got from 0 to 100 pretty quick. I'm not sure what the problem is. Other than the MJF
Bleach hadn't come out yet. The Bleach has not come out yet.
Other than the MJF segment, the Callis family has been involved in every single segment on the show.
Yes. Well, because it's hard to get somebody in the company's in the Callis family. And then we were ready for the main event. And I wasn't. Because Swerve versus Andre. So basically, Callis had told Swerve that Andre was going to beat him so that he would go on in this march to the title and just fuck y'all. Right? So they have the match. It's an 8-minute match in the show, and then they go 5 minutes in the overtime. Did you see the one spot of like, Jesus Christ? They get out on the floor, they get up on the barricade that's what, like 6 inches wide, and they're standing gingerly balancing each other so that Andre can backdrop Swerve on the barricade. So it's both fake in that they're setting it up, obviously cooperating, set it up on purpose with each other. And then when the guy takes the boat, there's no way to control everybody. He did it just as well. Remember what Alexander and Ibushi did? If there had been people underneath them, they would have fallen on them, right? He took that back row. There's a kid in the front row that this guy is put his hand from. A foot, an ass, a knee, something lands on the people in the front row. And there's a multi-million-dollar lawsuit, all to do a screwy move that there's a high potential you might get hurt, and it looks fake to set it up. Why are they doing these things, Brian?
I don't know. You know, again, it comes on the heels of, you just saw, what was it, Cody Rhodes, right? Do a bump on the barricade with Drew McIntyre the other day.
And also there was footage of Fatu got flung over on a crew person and apologized in mid-bump. Oh, I'm so sorry I hit you.
Oh, no, I did not see that. Really?
Yeah.
Hello, Lyra?
Yes. Oh, I'm sorry. He's still laying there, but you can see him mouthing, I'm so sorry. But anyway, the finish of this thing, Andre hit Swerve with 2 big moves that looked like it killed him and got a 2 count, and then hit another big DDT move that looked like it killed him, got a 2 count. And after Swerve had these 3 things done to him in a row, he immediately got a jackknife for a 2 count. Then Andre got a roll-up for a 2 count. And then Swerve jumped up and did his kick to the head finish, but didn't cover him, pulled him right up. But as he was pulling him up, Andre grabbed Aubrey, and she pulled away in a stagey fashion to turn her back so that Andre could kick Swerve in the balls and then hit his finish 1, 2, 3. And it was, what the fuck is so... Andre hit this guy with 3 things that should have left him stunned, if nothing else, and couldn't beat him. Then they did a couple of roll-ups, and Swerve did his kick to the head finish on the guy. And 5 seconds later, the guy just spins around and kicks him in the balls and hits his finish like there's nothing wrong. So Swerve's head kick didn't stun him enough that he couldn't do that 10 seconds later. The end.
Now Andrade gets a shot next week at, he gets Kenny Omega, and then the winner of that gets something else.
And then the loser, which is all of us, gets to watch it.
Well, another exciting AEW Dynamite. Just remember, better than TNA. Whenever you get too down on yourself for watching this show, better than TNA, but that was Dynamite.
Well, funny you might mention them, because we're going to take a little visit to TNA land here in a second from 20 years ago. We're going to hop in the Wayback Machine. I've found some things, but before we do that, Brian, I got a big stack of paperwork here, but what is on the big stack of events for this week in the Arcadian Vanguard Network?
Another action-packed week on the Arcadian Vanguard Podcast Network. I'm so excited I can barely talk. On Twitter at Super Podcast, or on Facebook at facebook.com/Arcadian Vanguard. Listen to the wrestling news each and every morning wherever you find your favorite podcasts, or directly from thewrestlingnews.com. Look for the wrestling news. No clickbait, no paywall. Just the wrestling news. Shut Up and Wrestle with Brian Solomon, SUAWpod.com. Stick to Wrestling with John McAdam, McAdamPod.com. And of course, the 605 Super Podcast. Go through the archive. That sounded hard. Go through the archive, 605pod.com, wherever you find your favorite podcasts.
Well, I told you I was on medication, and part of the side effects is also a little flatulence. Well, before we get into, as I said, the history lesson, we've got a breaking news story that is happening. It's coming out now as we're sitting here talking. We're going to try to bring this to you in a timely fashion as best we can. But Roman Reigns has been making some comments here today in the media, and it don't look like he's in favor of the current booking is the first blush that I'm getting from this. But do you have some details, Brian, over there in the newsroom?
Yeah, it's coming in now. Like you said, a lot of people started emailing us. It's trending on Twitter right now. Apparently Roman Reigns is on the Pat McAfee show, which traditionally is a safe landing spot for WWE executives or talent, because McAfee's not going to ask you anything you don't want to be asked, and
he's not going to make you show your tax returns.
Right. It's a friendly spot to go do an interview, and Roman Reigns is there because he's promoting, I presume, the Royal Rumble. And let's go to this audio now, because, yeah, it's everywhere. But let's go to this. We'll stop it along the way.
You know, I mean, there's always a mindset of that, you know, but to be completely honest and transparent here,